My parents refused to pay for my college, saying I should learn independence. Meanwhile, they covered every expense for my sister's tuition, trips, clothes, everything. So I left home and vowed I'd make them regret underestimating me. 9 years later, at my sister's wedding, they said something that left everyone stunned, and it changed everything. If you've ever been overlooked, underestimated, or dismissed by someone you love, hit that subscribe button now, like this video, and watch closely as this story unfolds, a tale of injustice, determination, and the sweetest kind of vindication. Let's dive in. I grew up in a family that had a very clear idea of who was worthy and who wasn't. My sister, everything she did was praised, highlighted, and celebrated. She was perfect, at least according to my parents. I was invisible. When it came time for college, I had worked hard throughout high school, maintained excellent grades, participated in extracurriculars, and even helped my mother with her small business. Yet when I asked my parents for support, they told me firmly, "You need to be independent. You have to learn to stand on your own 2 feet." It was crushing. I had imagined my parents cheering me on, supporting me financially like they did my sister, but no, their support was reserved only for her. Every tuition check, every fancy school trip, every summer camp, she got it all, and I was expected to fend for myself. I tried to reason with them. I begged, I pleaded, I tried to show my accomplishments, my potential, but their minds were made up. Independent was their excuse. And my sister, she glowed under the spotlight, oblivious or maybe complicit in the favoritism. I can still remember that night I left home. I packed my bags, my college acceptance letter, and a heart full of frustration and determination. The car engine hummed under me as I drove away, the house shrinking in the rearview mirror. I was scared, but more than that, I was fueled by the need to prove them wrong. The first few months were brutal. I worked part-time jobs while attending college full-time. There were nights I cried into my textbooks, exhausted, wondering if I had made the right decision. But slowly, I built something that no amount of parental favoritism could undermine. My independence, my future, my success. Meanwhile, my parents continued to lavish my sister with support. Every Christmas, every birthday, every special treat came with a sense of pride that was never extended to me. It wasn't just financial, it was emotional validation, the kind that my parents carefully withheld from me. Every picture of her in designer dresses, every post about her achievements, every congratulatory toast, it all stung. But I kept my head down. I didn't retaliate immediately. I focused on building my life, brick by brick. Years passed. I graduated with honors, landed a high-paying job, and eventually launched my own small business. I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. And every time I sent them a small holiday gift or a note to let them know I was okay, I felt the quiet satisfaction of independence, the kind they had demanded I earn. Then came the wedding announcement. My sister, the golden child, was getting married. My parents called me, more out of obligation than excitement. "You should come," my mother said, as if I were just another distant relative. I accepted the invitation, but this time, I came not with the heart of the invisible daughter, but as the woman who had quietly won. The wedding day arrived. The hall sparkled with lights, flowers, and laughter. Every detail was meticulously arranged. And of course my parents were there, glowing with pride, not at me, but at my sister. I watched as they fussed over her dress, fussed over the seating, fussed over every minor detail. They didn't glance at me once. They didn't ask about my accomplishments, my life, or my successes. They assumed I was still struggling, still independent, still invisible. But I had a plan. I had spent years building financial independence that even my parents couldn't ignore. And now, it was time to reveal it, not to humiliate them, but to assert the truth, to claim recognition for years of hard work they had ignored. The perfect moment came during the speeches. My father, as usual, gave a toast that praised my sister for her achievements, her kindness, and her generosity. The hall applauded, my mother beamed, and I sat quietly, letting their words wash over me. Then, when my father raised his glass for the traditional thank you to family, I stood. The room's chatter died down. Everyone turned, curious. I felt their eyes on me, the same eyes that had ignored me for years. "Before we go any further," I said, voice steady and clear, "I want to share something important. For 9 years, I was told I had to be independent because my parents refused to support my college education. Meanwhile, every expense for my sister's tuition, trips, even her wedding preparations was covered by them. And while I left home and worked every single day to fund my life, to pay for college, to build a career, they assumed I was struggling. They assumed I couldn't do it. I paused, letting it sink in. I could feel the room leaning forward, hanging on every word. What they didn't know, I continued, a small smile playing at my lips, is that I not only survived, I thrived. I graduated with honors, I started my own business, and I'm financially independent. The gifts I sent them over the years, they came from me. The life I built it myself. The room went silent. My parents' faces turned pale, their mouths opening and closing like fish. My sister's smile faltered. For the first time in years, the invisible daughter commanded attention, not by asking for it, But by claiming what was rightfully hers, I didn't just want acknowledgement. I wanted recognition. I wanted my parents to understand what they had missed, and how their favoritism had shaped my path, not hindered it. I reached into my purse and handed my father an envelope. He looked confused but opened it. Inside were copies of my college transcripts, bank statements showing my tuition payments, and documentation of my business. My mother gasped. My sister's jaw dropped. "This is the truth," I said softly. "I didn't need anyone to fund my life. I needed acknowledgement that I could do it, even when you didn't believe in me." The moment was electric. The injustice of the past, the favoritism, the countless dismissals, it all came crashing down in a quiet, undeniable truth. No words could undo what was proven here. The applause that followed wasn't for me seeking revenge. It was for the triumph of persistence, of talent, and of justice finally being recognized. My parents sat stunned, caught between pride and embarrassment. For years, they had believed that withholding support would teach me independence. But the lesson had backfired. They had created a success story on their own terms. My sister, ever the golden child, looked at me with awe, perhaps for the first time realizing the depth of what I had achieved. And me, I felt a wave of liberation. Not anger, not resentment, but a profound sense of vindication. Every struggle, every tear, every late-night job, every ounce of determination had led to this moment. Undeniable recognition, finally claimed. Life doesn't always reward those who wait for validation. Sometimes you have to leave the house, face the world alone, and build your own empire quietly, patiently, and unapologetically. And when the right